Time for another iPhone interview. This is Wendy, my amazing barber here in Arizona. Wendy, how did I find you? Was it Instagram?
It was Instagram.
Yeah. That's, by the way, that's the secret. You look at hashtags. First of all, if you go into a market, you know, in Dallas, I do this, in New York, I do this. You search hashtags for cinematographers, videographers, barbers, the best of the best, the artists, the ones who are really good. One, they're always promoting themselves. Number two, you get to look at their work. So you know if they're good or not. And number three, you know they're going to be innovative because they're current, because they're culturally current. So speaking of culturally current, Wendy, tell me, how did you get into barbering? Why is barbering a thing that was important to you?
I got into barbering by chance almost. I actually was born in Mexico and my family migrated here 4 days before my 4th birthday.
Wow.
And so for the longest time, I was essentially illegal until a few months after I graduated high school. But before then, I was just thinking of ways of how I can make cash money and be my own boss, because essentially I couldn't really get a job from anybody else.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I have to create a job for myself. So in a way, I use my disadvantage as an advantage to just make it happen for myself. I'm like, well, if I can't get a job, might as well create one.
Yeah.
And so for me, honestly, going to barber school and cutting hair was more of a way of like creating something for myself. And then thankfully, 2 or 3 months after going to barber school, I was able to get my Social Security and get my work permit and be able to be, you know, a little bit more legal. Thanks to DACA, which is a deferred action for early arrival or something like that.
What an inspiring story, Wendy. That's
exactly
awesome. Break into a career. I mean, talk about the fact that, you know, listen, I've had a lot of good barbers all around the country. Not a lot of female barbers. Is there sort of and you, by the way, I should mention, Wendy, you own your own shop. Like
I sure do.
Wendy's not just an independent, you know, solopreneur. She actually hires people. She's got a whole shop. She comes to me. I pay the emergency fee to have her come cut in person. But what's it like being a woman in the culture of barbering?
You know, at first it was also seen as a disadvantage, but what does a female barber have that a male barber doesn't have? And it's the feminine touch. Yeah. It's that motherly instinct. It's that the way we talk and the way we, like, you know, are able to take care of the client. Yeah, that's one of the many advantages. But I think it is hard sometimes, especially for female barbers starting out. I know it could feel like a disadvantage, but there's a lot of ways to make it feel like it's really not. And we have to start thinking of ways of how we can use it to our advantage.
There's so many people that follow me. I've got a lot of young aspiring entrepreneurs that follow me. They're always asking me questions. So in a second, I do want to ask you, like, what advice that you would have for somebody that's maybe facing some of that same adversity. But before I do that, what is the coolest haircut you ever gave? Besides me, because I know you're probably going to say me, but besides me, tell me, have you ever cut someone's hair that's famous?
Absolutely. I think my most memorable, and it was pretty huge for me, I got to work with Kanye West for Jesus is King, the documentary.
Wow. So he came to Phoenix. Yeezy was in Phoenix, and they asked you to cut his hair?
Yeah, so he actually was in Flagstaff. He was filming at the Rodent Crater up in like Northwest Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Super exclusive spot. And they were filming Jesus is King there, and I just got a call and they said, hey, do you want to cut hair for Kanye West? And I was like, what? Are you prank calling me? But it turned out to be real. And I was like, hey, you know what? If you are joking, I'm just gonna go and have fun in Flagstaff for the day. But I took that risk. I was like, you know what? Fearless, like whatever. What's there to lose?
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm gonna go have fun. Let's do this.
Guys, so you see how it's not just because Wendy gives me a good cut. Like, I want to make a point here. I could get good barbers to cut my hair, but energy is so important. Carlos Reyes talks about this all the time. You got to surround yourself with energy like that, like taking massive action, knowing what you want to do and moving forward towards it despite anything that's in your way. That's the only type of people I want to be around. That's why I like Wendy. Wendy cuts great hair. Like, she's one of the best barbers I've ever had. But truly, I like Wendy because she has that spirit, and I feed off that spirit. She feeds off of my spirit, and that's why I want to be around people like this. So for somebody that might be facing a challenge right now, or they might be going through a transition in their life, what advice would you give? Because you're one of the best people in the world to give that advice, because you've been at the bottom and you've come to the top. What would you say?
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I would say just learn to be fearless, and I know that's hard sometimes, and sometimes we get get the best of us, but you just have to learn to be fearless, and that's just like by getting up and doing it. We know that just doing something little by little every day will get you a long way, and sometimes like from point A to point Z, it might take 7 years. And something that you're doing today, even like reading a page in a book, reading a chapter in a book, or talking to somebody, having a conversation, it'll probably propel you. Just don't see it yet. It might take 10 years.
Yeah.
You might not be ready for it. You might hear it today, but you're like, wow, I remember that from 10 years ago. Now it makes sense.
Right.
And when you hear it again, it's like, wow, now I'm living that exact moment from 10 years ago. And that's why it all led up to this. So every day you just have to go for it and just try to be fearless. Just tackle it. Even if it seems so stressful and like you can't get it done, you just have to go for it.
That's such great advice. I think a lot of young hustlers want that instant gratification. Like they want to flip something. They want to, go do something and see the reaction right away. And to Wendy's point, it doesn't always happen. You got to put in your reps.
Yeah,
You got to, you don't change your body overnight. You've got to do the reps. You got to do the hard work. But what would you say as a business owner? Because obviously lots of entrepreneurs, real estate agents, business owners follow here on this account. What advice would you give to a business owner who might be going through their break points and hitting some hiccups here and there? Like, what have you learned as a business owner that you didn't know?
You just can't give up. You're gonna fall, you're gonna fumble, you're gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna make mistakes along the way, but you just get back up. Get back up. You can't let it get to you very much, because the way I see it, like I see people doing big business, millions, billions of dollars, they go all in, and I'm like, they could probably lose it all. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're all gonna die. So that's the way I've been
Why
seeing.
not go for it?
Why not go for it? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
The worst that could happen is that we're all gonna freaking die. It's just a matter of time. So you might as well just go for it.
Hey, that's the message for the day. We're gonna die anyway. Let's just do it.
Let's do it. You never know.
I love it.
Guys, we take haircuts really serious. This is what I hold. See, I hold one of these. I don't want Wendy to miss one little spot. Everybody says, dude, the hair's always on point. You gotta have the right utility, you just, you hold this. It's like, DJ Khaled, you gotta get every little spot.